If your knees could talk, they'd probably scream every time you reach for the wrong food. That's what I told Mary, one of my longtime patients, 78 years old, widowed, still tending her garden in spring, but lately, she'd been struggling to climb the 3 steps into her back porch. Her knees were swollen, stiff in the morning, and aching before sundown. She thought it was just age catching up, but I've seen it too many times to call it coincidence. Her pain wasn't just from wear and tear. It was coming from her kitchen. And if you're watching this and you've ever woken up with sore hands, a stiff back, or knees that feel like they're grinding with every step, you might want to take a closer look at what's on your plate. You see, inflammation doesn't just come from injury. It often starts silently inside your body. And food is one of the biggest triggers, especially for older adults with arthritis. Let me walk you through some of the worst offenders. First up, fried and fast foods. I know they're convenient, they smell good, and sometimes when you're tired, a burger or a fried chicken sandwich seems like the easy choice. But every time you bite into something deep fried, whether it's onion rings, French fries, or even that crispy coating on chicken, you're also biting into a dose of trans fats and harmful compounds like acrylamide, formed when foods are cooked at high temperatures. These substances don't just stay in your stomach, they circulate, setting off a storm of inflammatory chemicals in your bloodstream, cytokines that target your joints, swell your tissues, and amplify pain. In the lab, we've seen how these chemicals actually activate the very cells that break down cartilage. So every bite might be pushing your joints closer to damage. Mary used to love her Friday night fish and chips. But when she switched to grilled salmon and steamed vegetables, her swelling dropped within weeks. And no, it wasn't magic, it was science. Another common enemy? Refined sugars. They're hiding in plain sight: pastries, sodas, candies, even your morning flavored yogurt. Sugar fuels the production of advanced glycation end products, or AGEs for short. These molecules stiffen the collagen in your joints, making them less flexible. But that's not all. Refined sugars also cause spikes in your blood sugar, which in turn triggers inflammation. Plus, they disturb your gut microbiome, that collection of friendly bacteria in your intestines that helps regulate your immune system. When your gut health declines, so does your ability to fight inflammation. I remember one gentleman, George, 82 years old, who'd been drinking soda every day since the 60s. We switched him to lemon water and a piece of fruit instead. After 2 months, he told me his hands were finally loose enough to open a jar again. Now let's talk about sugary drinks and processed juices. I know orange juice seems healthy, it's fruit, right? But most store-bought juices are stripped of fiber and packed with high fructose corn syrup. That syrup drives inflammation even more aggressively than table sugar. It's converted quickly into fat by the liver, releasing uric acid and other inflammatory compounds. These drinks often contain phosphoric acid, which weakens bones and interferes with calcium absorption, making your joints not only inflamed, but structurally weaker over time. And here's something no one tells you: both soda and juice dehydrate you. And your joints? They're made mostly of fluid. When you're dehydrated, your cartilage dries out and grinds more. That's why I always encourage my patients to trade soda for water infused with mint, lemon, or cucumber. It hydrates, cools inflammation, and supports joint health in one go. But let me be clear, cutting these foods isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. If your daily breakfast includes a donut and sugary coffee, and lunch is a sandwich with white bread and soda, your body is being hit with inflammatory triggers all day long. And you may not notice the effects immediately, but your joints do. Inflammation builds up slowly, like rust on a pipe, until one day you realize your fingers can't grip the steering wheel like they used to. Or you groan every time you get up from a chair. It's not just old age, it's chronic dietary inflammation. That's why identifying and eliminating these top triggers is a form of healing. It's something you can control, something that can change your quality of life. I've seen patients in their 60s and 70s regain mobility they thought they lost forever, just by adjusting what they eat. And remember, it's not just about avoiding pain today. Inflammation left unchecked leads to joint erosion, cartilage loss, and in some cases, even autoimmune flare-ups. So, if you or someone you love is battling arthritis, don't underestimate the power of your fork. Start small, Swap fried foods for grilled or steamed options. Replace soda with water or unsweetened tea. Choose whole fruits over candy bars. These aren't drastic changes, they're gentle corrections. And for many seniors, those small corrections mean being able to walk without pain, to open a jar without help, or to hug your grandkids without flinching. In the next section of this video, we'll explore some surprising everyday foods, like white bread and even dairy, that may seem harmless but are secretly adding fuel to the fire in your joints. But for now, remember this: your body is talking to you. Every ache and stiffness is a message. And often, it's your food that's doing the talking. You just have to listen and make the choice to fight back. One meal at a time. Sometimes the worst culprits are hiding right on our kitchen shelves, disguised as healthy staples. Foods we trust every day but don't realize are quietly stealing our joint comfort. That's a truth many of my patients come to discover only after months or even years of discomfort. Take my patient Helen, a spry 75-year-old retired schoolteacher who always prided herself on eating the right things. Her pantry was stocked with whole wheat breads, low-fat dairy products, and lean red meat, all things she believed were part of a balanced diet. Yet, she kept waking up with aching wrists and knees that creaked like an old wooden door. It wasn't until we took a deeper look at her diet and lifestyle that the picture became clear. Some everyday foods, those we often trust without question, can subtly but steadily inflame joints and worsen arthritis symptoms. Let's start with white flour products. White bread, pasta, and pastries might seem harmless or even comforting, but these refined grains lack the fiber your body needs to keep inflammation in check. What they do have is a tendency to spike blood sugar rapidly, much like sugary treats do. When blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin, which in excess can trigger inflammatory pathways. This inflammation contributes to the swelling and stiffness you feel in your joints. I remember a gentleman named Carl, who at age 80 loved his morning toast with butter and jam. It was a simple pleasure after a long career. But his arthritis symptoms flared regularly, leaving him frustrated. When he replaced white bread with whole grain options rich in fiber, not only did his blood sugar levels stabilize, but the joint pain began to ease within weeks. His story is a reminder that sometimes the simple pleasures we cling to can come with hidden costs. Another hidden danger lurking in many kitchens is full-fat dairy products. Milk, cheese, and butter contain proteins like casein, which in certain individuals may provoke immune responses that exacerbate joint inflammation. While dairy has its benefits, like providing calcium for bone health, it can be a double-edged sword for those sensitive to these proteins. I had a patient, Maria, a lively 72-year-old who swore by her morning coffee with cream and loved cheese on her salads. Yet, her joint stiffness and occasional swelling made gardening difficult. After we trialed a dairy elimination for a few weeks, she noticed a remarkable improvement in joint comfort. The cream and cheese weren't villains for everyone, but in Maria's case, they were quietly fanning the flames of inflammation. Red and processed meats are another category that deserves attention. Many seniors grew up with hearty meals centered around red meats like beef and pork. But these meats often come packed with saturated fats and preservatives, both of which can raise inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein in your blood. Plus, red meats contain heme iron, which can increase oxidative stress in already inflamed joints. I often recommend patients swap out some of their red meat intake for fish rich in omega-3 fatty acids, like salmon or sardines. John, a 78-year-old Vietnam veteran and avid fisherman, made this change last year after months of stubborn knee pain. He told me that swapping his weekly steak dinners for baked salmon not only improved his joint mobility but also gave him more energy overall. And then there are refined vegetable oils, soybean, corn, and canola oils, which are found in so many processed foods and salad dressings. These oils have an imbalance of omega-6 fatty acids, which when consumed excessively, can tip the scales toward inflammation. They're also chemically processed, introducing free radicals that can damage your joint cartilage over time. Many of my patients are surprised to learn that their beloved, light, or heart-healthy vegetable oils might be quietly contributing to their pain. Instead, I encourage the use of extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, which have anti-inflammatory properties and help support joint health. Now, microwave popcorn might seem like a harmless snack to enjoy during your favorite TV shows. But it's packed with hydrogenated oils and trans fats, the worst offenders in triggering inflammation. On top of that, the chemical coatings on microwave popcorn bags contain substances like PFOA, linked to inflammation and even more serious health risks. One patient of mine, Louise, a 79-year-old retired librarian, loved her popcorn but was baffled why her arthritis flared worse after movie nights. Once she switched to air-popped popcorn with a sprinkle of natural seasoning, her flare-ups became less frequent and less severe. It's these kinds of small but powerful changes that make a big difference over time. In this journey through trusted but harmful foods, we cannot forget the impact of sodas and industrialized juices. These drinks are loaded with added sugars and high-fructose corn syrup, which fuel inflammation rapidly. They also contain phosphoric acid, which interferes with calcium absorption, weakening your bones and joints further. One of my patients, Frank, a jovial 80-year-old who used to enjoy a soda with every meal, shared that when he switched to water infused with fresh lemon and herbs, his joint pain decreased significantly, and his energy improved. But perhaps the most overlooked culprits in packaged snacks are potato chips and similar salty, processed foods. These contain trans fats and high sodium, both of which contribute to dehydration of joint cartilage and accelerate damage through toxic compounds formed during processing, such as acrylamide. I often find that patients who love salty snacks notice their joint stiffness worsens after indulging, and they report more difficulty with mobility. Simple swaps, like choosing unsalted nuts or fresh fruit, can help curb these painful episodes. The takeaway here is that arthritis-friendly eating isn't just about avoiding the obvious junk foods. It's about being mindful of everyday staples that can sneak inflammation into your diet. These foods might not cause immediate discomfort, but their cumulative effects build up over time, slowly eroding your joint health and quality of life. I've watched so many seniors reclaim their mobility and reduce pain simply by becoming aware of these hidden triggers. The best part? It doesn't require a complete diet overhaul overnight. Small, manageable changes, like switching to whole grains, choosing healthy fats, and cutting back on processed snacks, can bring relief and help preserve your joints well into your golden years. So if you've been battling joint aches and stiffness, take a moment to rethink those everyday foods you trust. Your joints may thank you for it with every step, every hug, and every moment of pain-free movement. And in the next part of this video, we'll dive into what you should be eating, superfoods and simple ingredients that nourish your joints and help fight inflammation naturally. Because aging doesn't have to mean surrendering to pain. It's about making choices that empower you to live fully and comfortably, one bite at a time. If you think convenience foods are your friend, I want you to sit with me for a moment and really consider what's inside that easy-to-grab bag or box sitting on your kitchen shelf. Because for many seniors, those quick fixes come with hidden dangers that quietly chip away at joint health and overall well-being. I've been practicing medicine for decades, and time and again I've seen how these seemingly harmless snacks and ready-made meals cause inflammation, worsen arthritis symptoms, and even undermine your body's natural healing processes. The truth is, packaged foods, microwave snacks, and many convenience items are engineered to taste good, last long, and keep you coming back for more, but at a steep cost to your health. Especially when it comes to your joints. Let me walk you through some of these hidden culprits and share stories from my patients who learned the hard way just how damaging these foods can be. Take microwave popcorn, for example. On the surface, it looks like a harmless snack, perfect for a cozy evening. But inside that buttery-smelling bag lurks hydrogenated oils, trans fats, and a slew of artificial additives designed to keep the popcorn fresh and tasty for months. What most people don't know is that the lining of these bags often contains chemicals like perfluorooctanoic acid, PFOA, which has been linked to inflammation and joint pain. I had a patient named Helen, a spry 70-year-old woman who loved movie nights with her grandchildren. She'd been eating microwave popcorn almost every evening for years, unaware that this habit was quietly fueling the swelling and stiffness in her fingers and knees. After we switched her to air-popped popcorn with just a touch of olive oil and sea salt, she noticed a remarkable decrease in her joint pain within a month. It's little changes like these that can make a huge difference. Then there are those seemingly innocent potato chips and packaged snacks. Crispy, salty, and convenient, they're a staple in many homes. But they contain trans fats and excessive sodium, both of which are notorious for promoting inflammation and dehydration in your cartilage, the very tissue that cushions your joints. Plus, the high heat during processing creates acrylamide, a toxic compound linked to oxidative stress that accelerates joint damage. I remember George, a retired teacher in his late 70s, who had been munching on potato chips daily while watching TV. His arthritis was worsening rapidly, and despite medications, his joint stiffness made it difficult to get out of his recliner. When we cut out the chips and replaced them with raw nuts and fresh veggies, his symptoms improved steadily. It wasn't overnight, but it was a turning point in his recovery. Soft drinks and industrialized juices deserve special mention here as well. Packed with added sugars and high fructose corn syrup, these beverages are one of the worst offenders when it comes to inflammation. The excess sugar floods your body with insulin spikes, which in turn prompt your immune system to release inflammatory chemicals that attack your joints. Moreover, many sodas contain phosphoric acid, which interferes with calcium absorption, weakening bones and cartilage over time. One of my patients, Ruth, who was 75 and loved her daily soda, struggled with frequent flare-ups of joint pain. We talked about swapping soda for infused water with lemon and mint. And while she was skeptical at first, she gave it a try. Within weeks, she felt less joint swelling and even had more energy. This change also helped her lose some weight, which took additional pressure off her knees. Alcohol, though often seen as a social lubricant and occasional indulgence, can also be harmful when consumed excessively by seniors dealing with arthritis. Alcohol impairs liver function, which is crucial for managing inflammation, dehydrates your body, and interferes with the absorption of vitamins and minerals essential for joint health. I've seen patients who enjoy their evening glass of wine but don't realize how it might be exacerbating their joint pain. Moderation is key, and understanding the impact of alcohol on inflammation can help you make better choices. Even refined vegetable oils like soybean, corn, and canola oil, staples in many processed and packaged foods, deserve attention. They are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which in excessive amounts create an imbalance with omega-3s and drive systemic inflammation. Many of these oils are also processed with harsh chemicals that leave behind free radicals, which can damage your cartilage cells. In my practice, I always encourage patients to swap these oils for healthier fats like extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, which have anti-inflammatory properties and support joint health. What's important to remember is that these packaged and convenience foods don't just cause occasional inflammation, they contribute to chronic, low-grade inflammation that builds up silently over time. The damage accumulates, making your joints less flexible, more painful, and more prone to injury. And it's not just arthritis. Chronic inflammation from diet increases your risk of heart disease, diabetes, and even some cancers, so the stakes are high. One of the hardest parts about this hidden danger is how normalized it has become in our culture. Many seniors grew up in a time when convenience foods were a luxury and now find themselves surrounded by an overwhelming variety of packaged products promising quick satisfaction. It's easy to fall into the trap of grabbing whatever's fast and tasty. But recognizing the long-term impact is the first step to regaining control over your health. I often tell my patients to approach this gradually. Instead of trying to overhaul your diet overnight, start by reading labels and being curious about what's inside your favorite snacks. If you see words like hydrogenated oils, partially hydrogenated fats, high fructose corn syrup, or a long list of unpronounceable additives, it's a signal to reconsider. Small changes, like making your own popcorn at home, choosing nuts or fresh fruit over chips, swapping soda for sparkling water with a splash of real juice, can add up quickly. One of my favorite success stories is about Edna, an 80-year-old grandmother of 5, who was battling severe arthritis for years. She loved her convenience snacks but was frustrated by constant pain and swelling. Together, we developed a plan to replace packaged foods with homemade options and whole foods. Edna started baking her own healthy granola bars, snacking on raw almonds and dried cranberries instead of pre-packaged mixes. and preparing soups and stews from scratch instead of relying on canned or boxed meals. Over the course of several months, she reported less joint pain, more energy, and even started walking daily again. Her story reminds me that change is possible, even when it feels daunting. As we close this section, I want to leave you with this: your health is your most valuable asset. And the choices you make every day matter. Convenience foods may save time, but they often cost you more in pain and mobility down the road. By being mindful of what's hidden in those bags and boxes, you empower yourself to reduce inflammation, protect your joints, and reclaim your vitality. In the next part of this series, we'll dive into healing foods that soothe inflammation and help rebuild joint health. Foods you can easily add to your meals to start feeling better, step by step. For now, take a moment to scan your pantry. What hidden dangers lurk in your favorite snacks? Could a few small swaps bring you relief and more joyful movement? It's never too late to start, and every healthy choice you make is a gift to yourself. As someone who's spent decades studying how food impacts our health, especially as we age, I can't stress enough how important it is to be mindful of what we put into our bodies every single day. These hidden dangers in packaged and convenience foods are sneaky enemies that quietly fuel inflammation and accelerate joint pain, stealing the quality of life we all deserve. But here's the good news: once you know what to watch out for, you can make smarter choices that protect your joints and give you back the freedom to move without pain. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any foods that seem to flare up your arthritis or joint discomfort? What changes have you made in your diet that helped you feel better? Share your experiences down in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any of the upcoming tips and advice I'll be sharing to help you live your healthiest, happiest life at any age. Together, we can take control of our health, one meal and one step at a time. Thank you for watching, and here's to stronger joints and better days ahead.